All right, welcome back to Life at the Outpost. We are back this week with better news than the last, first few rounds of the season, rather. We have some wins, and we have a pretty gritty win, followed by a very dominant win to talk about. I'll let you start off there. That game against Melbourne, I watched it. At work, got to see a bit of it, but or most of it. But yeah, geez, unexpected, I guess, in terms of results. But just the effort from most of the boys was again probably pretty unexpected from what we'd seen so far. But yeah,
not just effort, but also a big return to form for some people too. I think the last few weeks have been a bit of a shock to some of the boys. We even saw people like like Purdue coming out and saying, me and Mario spent a bit of time together now as well. When we've been talking about what we want from the team, or what we want from like us in the team, combination and stuff like that. Coming out and saying stuff like that means they've taken a look at themselves and they've had a bit of a look in the mirror. Yeah. But they've come out and they've put on some absolutely roaring performances these last couple of weeks, which is fantastic. We saw a pretty hard fought, but also a very for once, this is the one thing that's been really hard to watch sometimes as well, is the giving up. And I know that the new penalties and the new 6 agains are tough to stomach sometimes, but you still gotta. They're not going to go away. That's the worst part. And watching them really fight for this Storm win was inspiring. It was fantastic. It didn't matter that Warbrick got a quad or anything like that. They just kept pumping them out. They just kept pumping the points, kept putting on the pressure. Kicked the corners and really worked the left to right, and they put on a fantastic show. Yeah, I think you're right in that the 6 agains and penalties and whatnot have gone against them a lot and probably killed their confidence a bit. But yeah, despite that, just seeing them turn up and just keep attacking and it was like they sort of, for lack of a better term, they'd seen a slight chink in Melbourne's armour or just a little bit of a lapse when defending, and the Cowboys attacked, and instead of going, we're giving we're putting all this effort in, but we're just not seeing great results. They just kept hammering, and it worked. Clifford was a man possessed, I thought. He got that first try. It was a great try as well, but he had another one disallowed, and he was everywhere, doing everything that game, I thought. Yeah, this was like a real return to form for Jake. Yeah. He was literally everywhere, and he was calling so many shots. Yep. Followed by Drinkwater again. I think a massive. I mean, that Titans game was probably a slight turnaround for him, or maybe the confidence boost he needed, but was great in this game as well, I thought. Burns just being great. It just, like we're saying, like we touched on, just I think a turn around of form or a return of form for a lot of the players they're in. Definitely, yeah. I think really, I really am enjoying the way we're putting our back rows into holes as well. Yeah. It's an identification thing. Yep. But our halves have gotten incredibly good at identifying it. Yep. Both Tom and Jake are really putting in the effort. Yep. And even though Tommy's been a little quieter than normal, he hasn't really. He's only just being out of the limelight. That's all. He's pushing a lot more passes rather than taking them himself. He's playing 7. He's doing what a 7 does instead of a 6. He's doing exactly what is necessary. I think it's great because it's going to really create an element of attack later on down the track as well. Yep. And yeah, that's it. It's almost like he's letting Cliffo have that 6 and do that, all those 6, things, running the ball and whatnot. It has been good almost seeing him not so much take a step back in that he's not doing as much, but he's just focusing solely, or he's able to maybe focus solely on what he needs to be doing. So create the threat rather than be the threat. Yeah, that's exactly right. And it that's funny you say identifying the holes and getting the edges to hit them, that's where Melbourne are generally pretty strong. You'd see Chen go, or he nearly did, but you'd see him go over for a try or two sort of thing, or Katoa normally, or Blore or whoever, Lasardi who's been filling in, but
Yeah. I don't know. They just the defensive resolve too was huge for me. Mind you, most of their tries were outside of Falogo's were from Warbrick, or all their other tries were from Warbrick, and from pretty good passes and whatnot. I mean, that one from Grant from dummy half right on the line was magical. I don't know if anyone was defending that.
No,
it was just insane, man. The defensive resolve up the middle, which has been where a lot of our problems have been. It blew me away. Really did. It was not something I expected to see, much less against the Storm. I know they don't have a great strike rate against us up here in Townsville.
Struggle with the humidity.
Yeah, they do. They don't really get the result, but yeah, still only winning by 4 points in both teams. You know, kicking busted. Only two.
Like I said, that said,
two
the score is very different if we kick it. If we get the kicks.
Yeah, exactly right. So, and even if so do they, then we'd still win. But yeah, it was good to see. Good to see. Which, again, this week was followed up by a game travelling down to Sydney there and playing the embattled Dragons, or a team that are they're just finding it hard to get a win. Being in games, but finding it hard to get a win. This one, they just didn't let them breathe at all.
And for me, in this game in particular as well, it wasn't the amount of points scored that I liked about this game. The thing that I liked about this game was the duck egg, the big 0. I think keeping him to 0, I think one of the probably, I wouldn't even call it an arguable point, really. I think everyone's got the same criticism of the Cowboys over the last 2-year period.
Yeah,
is our defense. Our defense is just. It's just like we lose concentration. We lose focus of who's got the ball and where it's going.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, there's players who can force you to do that. So it's understandable in some aspects, but for the most part, it's just been lapse of concentration and focus. Yeah. And just leaking points as a result.
Yep.
We still do it every now and again, but I feel like this game in particular was a turning point for me.
Yeah. Yep.
This has to be a turning point. Like we've held a team to 0.
Yep.
We should feel good about it.
Yep.
We should celebrate it. Let's continue it.
Do it again. Yep. Yeah, exactly right. I'm with you on that. And I mean, again, albeit against the Dragons, a team struggling still to pile on 32 points but not get a single point scored against them is quite commendable. So it's something I think maybe for confidence for some of those players who are a little bit finding it a little bit rough to start the season or having a bit of a rough trot. Hopefully we see that sort of be a change in form for them. Drinkwater again, last few weeks he's improved week on week. Had a big game against Melbourne, had an even bigger game I think against the Dragons here, even getting that first try.
Clifford again.
Yeah, again. A man possessed again, and then unlocking players like Purdue, Purdue just getting back to how we saw him last year, before the little halves experiment, which sort of threw things up in the air and maybe got him a bit off kilter. I don't know. I think we've seen this year he started to again improve and get back to where he was when he first got that shot in centre there. So Burns again, another great game. Unfortunately, succumbing to an ankle injury. Did we find out, was it an ankle injury? I didn't quite see.
No scan announcements yet, so he must still be in the process of getting that. I mean, they had to travel, I guess, so it does make sense. But I imagine we'll find out probably by tomorrow what the issue is and how long he's out.
Lower leg injury, ankle or something like that, which he's had problems with before. But yes, you're right, touching on that, McIntyre as well, which I think looked to be a knee, but then that's right, had come out to be an ankle injury. So again, bit of time on the sidelines for them both, which sucks because they've both been great, but probably not worst case, or not seemingly worst case as of yet, which is good. So we'll make way for whether Derby walks back in or there's a little bit of a reshuffle and Laybutt comes off the bench and gets a centre spot or gets a wing spot or something, who knows. But I think it's got to be a wing, right? Because
I feel like we need to keep Chester in that spot. He's just owned it.
I wouldn't want to move Chester from centre. He's been great, and he was probably, not to overlook him in this game, he was probably one of the better players. I think he had a massive game in terms of tackles made. I think he only missed a handful and made quite a decent amount. Mm-hmm. Probably most all run meters, but also post contact meters. I think he led in that as well. So massive game from Chester, and only just missing out on a try, unfortunately. But a lot of positive things to finally talk about from the boys' effort and from the results there. The other one being Tom McHaley nearly getting his first ever try in the NRL, but unfortunately the ball just tipped Reid Marnie's hand, so constituted a forward pass, or a knock on into McHaley. So it was awarded on field, but then spotted in the replay and taken away from him viciously, unfortunately. But just
can't believe they did him like that.
Just all the more reason.
Can't believe it.
Yeah, all the more reason to give him a bit of incentive to go over again. Touching on that though, Marnie's the other one. I think through those injuries, we didn't see Sonny Luke didn't get a go, and it just sort of threw the rotation out a bit. So out of necessity, he played the full 80. There's the proof he can play the full 80, obviously, but also I think he had Marnie, who's been a little bit here and there to start the season, to say the least. I think we saw him do quite well, and out of necessity play that 80 minutes, yes, but do quite well in the hooker position there. Still, with Sonny Luke is quite useful, so he's a thing I think we probably need to keep looking at, or keep there to utilise. How we do that, who knows? But it was good to see Marnie.
I think the one thing about with Marnie here as well is that I've criticised him a little bit in the last few weeks as well, because his work rate has probably gone down a little bit. He worked hard in the first couple, and then he sort of dropped off. Yeah. This week was more impressive to watch from Marnie's perspective for me. Not because he had to play the full 80 and get it done, but because his work rate was phenomenal. Yeah. He led the tackle count at 47. Yep. I think he equaled Lukey with 47. So both him and Lukey up with 47 was massive from Lukey too. Yep. But to make all those tackles and still be pretty fighting fit. Yeah. At the end of it. At the end, that was really great. Yeah. So, if his work rate's high,
he's doing everything he needs to be. That's exactly right, and he's fulfilling that role.
That's right.
Exactly right. But again, the Dragons, unfortunately, in all sorts or whatever, but probably the game we needed, or the boys needed, all around, all over the park, just to come together a bit. Murray, again, I can't believe he doesn't have a contract yet. I don't know what's going on there, but another great game from him, I think. So it's just good to see them all sort of come together and piece a solid game together all around the park there.
Definitely.
That leads us into Friday's game. Our first derby, or against the Broncos at least, first Queensland derby against the Broncos, and again,
OG Queensland derby.
That's the one. Again, down there, kicking it off down in Brisbane, which is always a tough ask, I think, going down to Suncorp. No matter what form either team's in, it's always a tough game. We're probably a little bit fortunate, though, after this week with Broncos' number of injuries to key players, and that's going to see most of their spine have to sit out for a few weeks. So pretty fortunate going into it. But that's maybe a little bit of a concern to me, that I hope the boys don't just have a bit of a lapse and think it will be all too easy because of that. So,
if anything, they should hopefully go down there with more venom to take it to Duffy.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they'll almost certainly be up against Duffy, right? Who else do they have to pull in?
And
I don't think they've got anyone else.
That's what. I think we may see. Obviously, team listed tomorrow, but might be out of necessity. Duffy getting a bit of a run, and his debut at the Broncos, no less, in a derby against his old hometown team. So. Could be a very good game, or should be a very good game, I should say.
He'll want to take it to us. We'll want to take it to him. So let's see what we got.
Yeah, exactly. And Broncos' backs against the wall. That's where we've seen them this year. It's almost as if they've needed some sort of, not so much controversy, but they needed to have their back against the wall to get over the line or to put in a solid performance, and I think this week's probably going to be the very first showing of that from the get-go anyway, or from kickoff at least. So, yeah, I think a dangerous team to come up against in that position. I'll be tipping the boys, obviously. I've liked what I've seen the last few weeks. I think they've got that confidence and got that ability. I just don't want it to sort of flow into a bit of overconfidence or maybe complacency is all.
Yeah, and I mean, I've got the boys too, but I think the only worry is the same thing. I mean, I feel like you're going to see that roster of injuries, and you're going to go, ooh, free game.
Yeah.
It's never a free game in a derby, bro.
Not against the Broncos, nonetheless.
Never a free game in a derby. You got to go down with full confidence. You got to go down with full metal. You got to be ready to fight for it.
So, yeah.
It's going to be a good watch.
Yep, yeah, exactly. I'm tipping Clifford to have a big one, but I'm tipping Tommy to have a big stellar game in this one and finally make his stamp on the season, I think.
And Tommy does love a Suncorp try, so...
He does, and try saver nonetheless too. So, yeah, I think it'll be a big one. That's about it so far. I mean, we talked about those injuries to McIntyre and Burns and that, both ankle, but...
And Nene maybe back...
Next week, possibly, yeah. I think I heard something recently. He was still another few rounds away. Whether that was the initial return date and it's since been cut, or his rehab's going a lot better, I don't know. But that's probably the one positive thing in McIntyre going down here is he might miss a couple weeks, but hopefully Nanai should be ready to come back by then and step back into his spot. So it'll be good to welcome him back as well into the squad and get a little bit of a little bit of a boost there.
Definitely,
yeah. Our men at the front. So I think that's probably about it for this week, this fortnight. Our next one after that, though, will be a home game against the Sea Eagles here on Thursday night. And gosh, I hate Thursday night games, but will be good. Be good to be able to attend it, and yeah, hopefully we can come back to you saying we got a good result in our first derby, and we're taking that into the Manly game. But I think if nothing else from you this week,
that's got me, and well done.
About it. From us here at the Outpost, we hope you had a good Easter, and we're not too far off of Magic Round. We're getting to that good time of the year, early to mid part of the season, where we've got a lot of footy coming at us. So thanks for listening this week, and we'll talk to you next time.